Hey all, Pi here, and today we are playing Without Romance, or at least that's what it's called on Steam. It seems to just be called Romance in this title card here. Interesting. So let's get into it. Should just be a very cute visual novel. I'm sure it won't completely destroy my heart. An outsider would likely not believe it. I can still barely believe it myself. If I wake up and realize this is all just a dream, I won't be surprised. A fairy tale. That's the only way I can describe it. I loved those stories as a kid, fantasizing about being one of the many princesses. And now, here I sit, enjoying the view with Prince Charming by my side. Just like how those stories end. There's a large amount of space between you two if you're supposed to be lovers. Except, love is not our happy ending. Ah, there it is. There had once been a time when I had dreams. A time I had dared to have hopes of my own in life, to fly free and explore all the world had to offer. How childish I had been. To think that I could escape, to become more than I was. Yet, as a child, my folks knew no bounds. My eyes had been glued to the pages of a solitary book, the vibrant colors faded from overuse, the shining white of castles turned to dull gray. I'd once asked my mother what it might be like to live in such a castle. She'd stopped, gently laid down her dishcloth and turned to tell me a story. A realm of banquets, rooms aplenty, and best of all, the home of a Prince Charming, a gallant gentleman, she'd said. Not that 9-year-old me knew what a gallant gentleman was. In our city, the Yamatos were as close to a fairy tale royalty as we could ever dream of finding. Their land was spacious, their house warm, and their stomachs full. Everything that ours were not. But how could we ever hope to compare? Their prestige was unmatched, and their dedication to tradition unrivaled. Even their marriages couldn't escape their pedigree. What they sought? Only the finest. And yet, somehow, some way, I'd planted a seed in the minds of my parents that their little girl had dreams of grandeur. To be clad in finery, to lead the life of a princess. It made sense then that my mother and father would put the wheels in motion, to set me upon a path to a throne for which I barely qualified. My merits? Simply that I was one of the most intelligent for my age. With near nothing to my name, there was no better way to pass the time than commit whatever knowledge I could find to memory. Such was how I had gone year after year with only the finest of grades. How convenient, then, that intellect sat at the top of the Yamato's pecking order. Hello, Miss Fluff. I don't know if y'all heard that. She just did a very loud meow. I would have once thought beauty would be key, but every family has their own tastes, and they were no different. The reception room is filled with girls my age. Maybe a few are a year older, but that isn't the big difference. Dressed in frills and vibrant colors, these girls chatter away. I can tell many already know one another. Maybe it's an aloofness I put out that keeps them away, but more likely it's the patched-up clothes my mother had handed me earlier that day. Only the finest for a little princess, she'd said, combing my hair. I should have known. I have no place at this ball, and I have not the blessing of Cinderella. I hear he's quite handsome. He must be quite dashing. Really? My maid told me the young master was the quiet type, though that's nothing but a servant's gossip. The talk around me only cements my place here. What could I even offer these people? My own lips mutter treason. A glance around shows the candidates forming their own groups as a hierarchy of extravagance forms. A few of us still stand alone, even one girl who would make a fine addition to any social circle. Her golden hair bobs as she bounces in excitement, even managing to bring a smile to my face. I take a deep breath. Nothing good comes from staying nervous, as my father might say. Between the heat of the room and the chilled drinks covering the tables, a mist covers my glasses. Taking them in hand, I wipe them on my dress, only to feel glares from all around burning into my skin. That's nothing new. The set of doors across the room slides open, their silence a far cry from my own home. How nice that would be. Through the doorway walks a woman in a most gorgeous suit, but what catches my eye is the young boy walking behind her. After closing the doors behind them, the woman turns to address us. Her words barely register. Isn't it just polite lip service? Around me, the other girls seem to buzz with newfound excitement at the mention of a name. Ren. With a polite bow, the woman steps aside, offering the stage to the young boy that had entered with her. Though he's my age, he holds a poise that felt beyond his years. Once more, the platitudes wash over me, and I fix my eyes on the boy commanding the room. While nervous giggles flow through the guests, my mind keeps ticking over. His words aren't important. If anything, the whispers shooting through the room tell me all I need to know. Ren is the prince of this castle, and for the sake of my family, I must be his princess. No pressure. I heave a long and exhausted sigh. What's with the long face now? Come on, smile. Ma, you've taken too many pictures. Let's go already. But it's your big day. She tinkers with the camera in her hand, careful as to not accidentally break it. Papa's dying to attend if it weren't for work. He asked me to take as many pictures instead. One is enough. Every other take is just the same face doing the same pose in front of the same gate. Then change it up, silly. Her eyes scan the area and lock onto a group of my classmates fooling around the schoolyard. She points at them with her pinky. There, do you see them? They're taking lots of pictures as well. I bet you they barely passed their classes. Meanwhile, Miss Valedictorian here thinks she deserves less. Grades and pictures are not related. Besides, they're making memories with their friends. Mine is just for commemoration. Call your friends, then. I'd be happy to take their pictures, too. Forget it. See? Now move to the left a little bit and give me a big smile. The shutter clicks yet again. It's not about the pictures I'm complaining about. It's just embarrassing standing here while all my classmates whose names I already can't remember are passing by us. Ooh. I'm glad Pa isn't here. There's no knowing how embarrassing this would be. This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment, and I know that I should let them indulge. They are proud of my achievements. I understand, and I'm happy that they are. They're the ones I did it for, after all. Perhaps if we'd been taking pictures at home, I would have no qualms. My mother clicks her tongue and shakes the device. Darn, batteries are low already. That means it's time to go, at last. I should have brought the charger with me. Oh, I know. There's a restaurant that just opened nearby. Why don't we treat ourselves there? Don't you need to go to work? Not for another hour? Let's just head home so you can rest before you go. You haven't eaten anything since morning. I'll cook something myself. We don't need to go to a restaurant for that. We don't have the money either. Of course No, we don't. We're already behind rent because this gown and that camera. That's for your papa and I to worry about. You, on the other hand, just enjoy today, okay? You're about to be part of the Yamato family. Money should be the least of your worries. Not until the marriage is final. So prissy. How are you going to make the Yamato kid like you if you're like that? I don't really have to have him like me. She sighs, touching her cheek. I've always been worried you're trying to get yourself into something you don't truly understand. Like what? This entire thing. You don't seem to be seeing marriage in the way you should. I'm seeing it the way the Yamatos do. I'll be fine. Honey, this is a huge commitment, and you seem to be taking it lightly. Marrying someone you don't have feelings for, that's... You can still kindly decline it and pursue something you want instead. But this is what I want. I've worked hard to get where we are now. I'm not backing out when it's already within reach. You've got enough things to worry about already. I can worry about myself now. She shows a dissatisfied frown, but chooses not to pry any further. You say you're going there tomorrow? Formally meeting them and introducing myself. The last time we met was during that big party 9 years ago, after all. I would be surprised if he still remembers me. I would love to accompany you there, but I'll be fine. It's just a visit. I might also visit them frequently now that school is over, to know more about what's needed of me and all. You'll have time to come eventually. Somehow I've distracted her enough out of the idea of eating out. I pull on her arm and start walking home. The following day comes. I find myself standing in front of the Yamato's estate. Thank you for coming all the way today, Madame Risa. An unfamiliar woman in a business suit lowers her head as she greets me at the door. I have not introduced myself, nor have I told them that I'll be visiting today, but she seems to be expecting me. I lower my head back at her. These formalities may be normal in this household, but I may not get used to it. Oh, thank you. I'm here to meet Sir Ren Yamato. Of course, madame. Right this way. She steps aside and points with her hand, inviting me in. I follow her to what looks like a waiting room, more spacious than our family's entire apartment. The doors open directly to the garden. In one corner of the room sits a guy busy with his pen. I recognize him right away, even though it's been half my life since we last met. Your fiancé has arrived, sir. The guy looks up and immediately drops his work. He kindly points to the seat in front of him with his palm. Yes. Please take a seat. Risa, right? Yes, sir. I sit at the table cautiously as he's just standing up to join me. Just call me Ren. We are already engaged after all. He's kind of cute. He's got that Bishi thing going for him. Okay, so, Rin. May I get you something to drink, madame? Oh, I'm good, thank you. We'll take tea for now, Ruth. Right away, sir. Ruth lowers her head once again as she exits the room. We could have prepared something better had we known you were coming today. It's fine, don't mind me. Nervous? Just a little bit out of place. You're a part of the family now. Treat this household as your own, and don't hesitate to ask for assistance whenever. I'll try, thank you. I glance over at the table he was just at. Papers rustled in the wind, are held down by a small piece of rock. You seem to be in the middle of something. I'm sorry to disturb you. Nothing to be sorry about. Work has just piled up recently. I hope you don't mind the mess. Not at all. His kind tone and welcoming attitude make me comfortable despite his rather impassive expression. It's really nice to meet you again. I heard you were at the top of your class. That's admirable. That means a lot coming from you. I'm honored that you have chosen me among all other great candidates. It was my parents who did, but I trust their decisions. They're not around, unfortunately. No one knows when they'll return yet. Business trip, I'm assuming? I see. I should offer them my gratitude when I finally meet them. Were you homeschooled? That's correct. My parents preferred tutors to ensure that I'm being taught thoroughly in each subject. I see. That must be nice. I suppose I'm also at the top of my class. That's one thing in common. Yeah. Not as impressive being at the top of your class when your class is one person. He cracks a smile with that playful comment. Ruth comes in carrying a pot in one hand and a stack of teacups in the other. She courteously places them on our table. Young master, you have another guest today. Should I let her in? Please do. As you wish. Ren pours himself a cup of tea as Ruth stands up and leaves. I'm a bit confused what I should do. Should I get going? No, it's fine. A few people have just been visiting to show their gratitude and blessings. It would be better if you were here with me for them to greet. Is that so? Why don't you move over to my side? Sure. I walk on my knees to take a seat right beside him, as he requested. It's nerve-wracking both being this close to him and having to meet another candidate. Ruth returns, this time with the other guest behind her. She enters the room without waiting for an introduction. Hello, Rose. Hey, Ren. It's been a while. Ruth quietly closes the door behind this energetic girl as she makes herself comfortable seated across from us. Would you like some tea? Sounds lovely, but I'll pass. Mom and Dad couldn't make it today, but I wanted to come visit at all costs. That's understandable. How have you been? Absolutely great. And your work? Never ending. As always, then. They both giggle. She turns to me and finally acknowledges my existence. Ah, you must be Risa. I am. Nice to meet you. So cute. What a lucky guy you are, Ren. I can't help but notice how expressive Ren is right now. From the looks of it, they've been good friends for a while already. Maybe Ren just feels more comfortable with her around. Anyway, if I had to guess, other girls have paid you a visit already, and I'm here for the same reason. I'm really happy for you two. She takes a step back to prostrate herself before us. On behalf of my family, I would like to thank the Yamato family for the opportunity I was given. It means a lot. I'm just about to take a bow back instinctively when Ren gently taps me on the knee. The pleasure was ours, Rose. I appreciate your participation. Rose sits back up with a bright smile on her face. Have you guys decided when the wedding will be? It hasn't been decided yet. We would like to have Risa and her family comfortable with us first. It may not be for another year. Aw, do let us know once it's set. My parents and I would love to be there. We will surely send you an invitation. Great. I can't wait to see you in your wedding dress, Risa. Thank you. I'm sure you would look better in one. Don't put yourself down. She helps herself up. Well then, I have to take my leave. Thanks for the visit, Rose. Take care on your way home. I will. Have a great day. She bows once more with a big smile and heads towards the door. She waves at the last minute before closing the door behind her. The once cheerful room goes quiet. Such a lively girl. She always has been. You two seem close. Ah, yes. She had kept me company every once in a while. Do you like her? That may have come out of my mouth without me thinking, but I'm curious. He looks at me puzzled for a few seconds before directing his stare outside. Does it look like it? The smile never left your face the entire time she was here. I don't know much about that, but maybe I am. He massages the bridge of his nose. And you're okay with this? He takes a sip of tea, but it's obvious he's dodging the question. He gently places the cup back down on the table, playing with it by tipping it just enough for the liquid to reach the edge of the rim. I'm sorry if I'm prying into your matters. It's fine. He continues to play with his half-full cup. How much do you know about the Yamato family? I know about it being the most prestigious family. It doesn't look like that's the response he was waiting for. I try to think of another answer. I know that your family values traditions a lot, staying true to the customs that have been passed down throughout the generations. I know that you prioritize the physical and mental wellness of your descendants above all else. I know that the firstborn gets to inherit everything that gets passed down to the next generation. Funny, isn't it? What is? That I get to inherit everything. I'm the one to pass down the tradition to my children, and so on. Even when I'm not even the firstborn. I turn to him, dumbfounded by the news I'm hearing for the first time. I'm not familiar with their family matters to begin with, but what I'm learning right now is not a small matter. The fact that I have not heard of it even as a rumor means almost no one outside their family knows about it. I have a brother, you see. Much older one. May I ask where he is now? Who knows? He cut all ties with us a long time ago. You see, he chose to stick with his selfish decision over his duties. Chose to be with a woman he loves against my parents' will. Against our family's tradition. That's a novel-worthy story. It's the first time in our bloodline that something like this has happened. Romantic, some would say. Brave, even. But I see neither of those. He's a disgrace, prioritizing his own emotions. Our traditions exist for a reason, and we kept our status because of it. I'm my family's last chance. I won't ruin our tradition for some trivial emotions. He takes another sip. I'm lost for words. Ren's devotion to his family has earned my utmost respect, though part of me sides with his brother. I don't think his brother's decision was wrong in any way. I have not experienced love yet myself, but that's not to say I don't understand it. The mere image of wanting to be with someone else warms my heart. It's beautiful. To be deprived of that because of your duties, that must be tough. As much as I would want to know that feeling firsthand, I'm not blessed with the person I feel so strongly towards. But Ren, he knows that feeling and chooses to keep it to himself. Something's just not right. What do you feel about Rose? Do you want to spend time with her? That doesn't matter now. It still does. Your dedication to your family is impressive, and I can tell you've done a lot. You should be allowed to be selfish every once in a while, even if that's just to spend a little time with someone you're attracted to. Why is my fiancé asking me to spend time with another girl? I don't see anything wrong with spending time with someone. Besides, I think my fiancé deserves happiness before the ring is in place. His hesitant gaze is right at me. I've still got a lot to learn around here, and the wedding is not for another year, as you said. Are you really sure about this? Am I suggesting out of sympathy? Out of pity? Out of guilt? My gut tells me this is the right thing to do. Rose can give him something I probably will never be able to. I would be hurt to see him bereaved. I am. I insist. He lets the breeze out through his nose. I'll have her requested for another visit soon. Without much opposition from him, I get up and talk to Ruth to do just that. Ruth heard the whole thing, guys. Rose had arranged to come visit again after a few days, and I've made sure I'm here to greet her. Risa! Good afternoon. How are you today? Fantastic. You're looking adorable today. Why, thank you. I'm sorry to have you over on such short notice. Don't mention it. Is there something wrong? I rest my cheek on my palm, pretending to be constructing my statements in my head. To tell you the truth, I've got a favor to ask. If it's anything I can do. I would like to help Ruth out around the house, and I would not have much time to spend with Ren. I noticed the other day that you're good friends with him, and I was wondering if you'd be willing to keep him company from time to time. Oh. She looks at me as if waiting for a catch. Oh, absolutely. It would be an honor. Really? That would be wonderful. I'm sorry to have you involved in this. I just don't know anyone else. I know it's my responsibility and all. She takes a step closer towards me and holds my hand with both of hers. Don't you worry, Risa. I have you covered. I will keep your future husband happy. Don't worry. I've got plenty of time to spare now anyways. Great. I escort her to Ren's study. Rose has come to visit Ren. Ah, yes. Come in, Rose. That smile on his face is back. I knew this was the right thing to do. I hope you don't mind me being here. I've just got nothing better to do. Not at all. I'd love to have you over. Must be tough being confined to your house on this lovely day. I'm behind work. I can't complain. What about you? The warm atmosphere doesn't take long to develop. My presence is just in the way of them. Well then, I'll have to excuse myself. Oh, you're not joining us? I'm afraid I have to help Ruth out. Are you sure? You don't have to. I would like to be of any help to her. All right then. Don't overexert yourself. I'll be sure not to. Please enjoy your time together. They continue where their conversation left off almost instantly. It's fun watching them chatter like kids left alone at a park. I take my exit quietly as to not interrupt them and head next door where Ruth is. Hello. Madame Risa. I stop her just as she's about to stand and bow. It's fine, don't be considerate of me. I can't do that, madame. I know, I'm just not used to being catered to. Perhaps you can make an exception. Understood, madame. I would prefer being called by my name instead, but that might be asking too much right away. At least she agrees not to lower her head every time she greets me. I'd say that's progress. Is there anything I can help you with? I have everything under control, madame. I see. I am here if you happen to need a hand. I'd be happy to help. I insist. She keeps up her professional demeanor, but her slight body movements tells me she's still hesitant to give me anything to do. Well, can I at least take a seat here until you need me? By all means, madame. Please make yourself comfortable. I nod and take a seat on her small couch as she goes back to work. The room is surrounded by bookshelves housing a variety of books. Each looks more complicated than the last. Does she read all these? Are these for work? Records? Are you sure about this, Madame Risa? About what? Having Rose over for young Master Ren. I'm sure you've caught how he feels about her. You think Ren will change his mind? Master Ren would not oppose his parents' pick. I'm afraid it is you who might change your mind, Madame. When that happens, the Yamato would pick the next in line in the selection. That person happens to be the one Master Ren is with right now. So Rose is the second choice. It must have been a close match. I'm not sure why Ruth thinks I would change my mind, however. Is that so? I can tell you I don't plan to change my mind at all. I'm just letting them spend time with each other. Understood. Are you sure you don't need my help with anything right now? I'm just organizing young Master Ren's month as much as I can right now, madame. Understood. That reminds me. What does Ren work on anyway? Young Master is a statistical analyst. I see. Sounds complicated. He has always had a strong affinity with numbers. He's only still young, but it won't be long until his parents' friends would start consulting him professionally. At such a young age? Is that the family business of the Yamatos? It is not, madam. Is that so? I would have guessed they're all passing down a single profitable family business. I'm afraid they don't have such a thing as a family business. The Yamato family operates under a single simple statement: family, freedom, and fun. Each member of the family is free to pursue what they're passionate about. What if someone wants to do nothing? Then they would do just that. That won't be very profitable, would it? How are they able to hold their status for such a long time, if such is the case? The answer to that is so simple, yet complicated to explain. To keep it short, due to their basic needs being already met, they are able to focus on doing what they like. If it happens to gather the money, they won't need it for themselves and would instead pass it down to their children to make sure they live comfortable lives. Then the cycle essentially continues. This is why it is important to them that they produce healthy offsprings. I see. I can't say I fully understand it, but somehow it all makes sense. Since you're now part of the family, the same goes for you. You're free to pursue anything you want. I haven't thought much about what I wanted to do. I was under the impression that I would be helping around. Of course not, madam. Well, until I figure it out, that's what I'll do. Understood. Turns out there's a lot I still need to learn about the Yamato family. Being with Ruth somehow makes me more comfortable than with Rin. Ooh, does somebody have a crush on the maid? The conversation dies down, and my eyes go back to wandering around the room. Could I perhaps bring you something to drink? Ah, don't worry, I can help myself. I stand up and head for the exit. I happen to pass by Ren's room. I can't help but stop and watch how much fun they're having. What is going on with this face? It's a perspective shot, but this is a little weird. Sitting in the corner of the room with such a nice view. I crack a small, hidden smile, proud of what I've done for Ren. It was definitely a good idea. I leave them alone for the entire day. Rose starts coming over almost every day, leaving just before afternoon ends. Every day, without fail. Every day she visits, it seems like they have new stories to share. It's amazing. Imagine if they spent every day like this, unending smiles and laughters. They look so cute together. They're almost made for each other. I wonder how Rose feels about Ren. She was a candidate, so I'm sure it has crossed her mind. I'm sure she was prepared to develop feelings for him, if she hasn't already. Something I didn't do. If it weren't for me. I shake the cloud out of my head. In the next few weeks, I've preoccupied my time with helping Ruth, leaving Ren and Rose almost undisturbed. Why does everybody have an R name? Anyway, on that note, I am going to stop there because I am already over my time limit and my voice is starting to go, so I think I'm probably done for the night. Anyway, if you have enjoyed this, by all means, please leave a like or a comment and subscribe if you have not already. And if you would like to support me financially, please go check out my Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can get early access to all of my regular videos. And for everyone else, I just hope to see you again in the next one.